The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Wrap this one up in green and white.
Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to another edition of the RailCats Talk podcast. And, they done did it again. The RailCats blew another lead to the Cleveland Railroaders to lose the game. Shocker. Not really. Well, I'll get into the game, and then I'll get onto my thoughts. So starting off, the game, Scatlin struck out. Woodworth gets a single. Nova walks. Mariaga strikes out. Castillo hits a 3-run home run to put the RailCats up 3-0. Walraven gets a single, then steals a base. Sam Abbott strikes out to end the inning. Looking at the Railroaders, they did nothing any sorts until the fourth. So going back to the RailCats, so we're gonna go ahead and skip to the fourth. And I'm not gonna skip to the fourth right away. I'm gonna actually skip to the third. Woodworth comes up, pops out to first. Nova gets a single, steals second, right? Steals second. There's one out in this situation, right? He steals second. And I think that came after the Woodworth pop out. I'm not sure exactly when that came. Mariaga flew out to right field, or to center. Nova stayed at second. And in the meantime, while that was going on, Castillo was up the plate. And this is what I don't understand. All right, if you're going to be aggressive, I would rather you be aggressive on either no outs or 1 out, not 2 outs. Being aggressive on 2 outs, it gets you nowhere and it hurts you in the long run. Now, it may help you, but it doesn't help for the fact of if you're trying to set up a sacrifice fly. I get if you're going to, in the purpose of stealing, like, maybe first to second, just to get yourself into a scoring position, which I think that's where it kind of came in, but then tried to take third. Yeah, okay, Nova, you should have the speed. If it gets through the infield with 2 outs, you're running on the crack of the bat anyways, so more than likely you're going to score. So he decides that he's going to just keep taking off, and Castillo foul one off, and he's just going to keep taking off, right? And eventually he gets picked off. I mean, it's not technically a full pick because it wasn't like he threw him back to second and got him out. It was technically a pickoff. I believe it was Lucas picked him off going to third. That was the first, like, what are you doing? Which wasn't that big of a deal at the time. You were up 3-0, so it wasn't a huge deal at that point. But later in the game, that kind of hurt the RailCats a little bit. But going to the top of the fourth, Castillo continued his at bat. He struck out. Walraven hits a solo home run, his third of the series, which he's been absolutely dominant of the Cleveland Railroaders pitching. I'll get a little frustration towards the end of the game with him. Abbott struck out, which, at this point, I like Abbott's power, but when you're batting 185, you have 12 home runs, that's cool. But then you come into the game and you strike out looking, and then when you need your power the most, you swing over the balls that are right down the middle of the plate on fastballs. But if you have the power, that's I don't know. I guess I would have rather someone else in there at that situation. I don't care about power enough to concern that. That's a big spot that we want you to hit, and you can't hit in that spot. It's not helping anything. You're not helping anyone by going 0 for 4. We did see Graveman, he's another glorified Sam Abbott who's just going to strike out and have power. I mean, he only struck out once today, so I mean, it's not too, but that's neither here nor there in that certain situation. Going to the bottom of the fourth. So the bottom of the fourth and the fifth was a little finicky for me, just because at the time I had personal things going on. at the time. So I kind of didn't catch fully everything that was happening and what happened. Um, so going into the fourth here, Nair flew out to left. Simpson strikes out. Clemens gets a double and the gap between center and left. And then Alexander hits a single, which drove in Clemens. And then Sanchez is up to bat, and it looked like Smith tried to throw Alexander out at first, and it kind of airmailed on him, which wasn't the first time we saw a catcher tonight. I think that was the first throw that Jackson Smith that I've seen that has been like that bad. But I know the catcher for Cleburne, Bollock. I know he's coming back from like a wrist injury, but he didn't look comfortable throwing behind the plate, except to get thrown Nova out. Because the RailCats stole 4 bases, which is the first time in I don't know how many games they've even stolen 1 or 2 bases in a game. And it didn't help them in this aspect of it. But I mean, it is what it is in that point. But he overthrows it. So they gave 2 errors on that. The error to Smith, and then Mariaga had trouble picking the ball up, which led to the scoring play. So you had an E3 and an E9, or E2 and an E9 in that situation. So that is kind of a little bit. So it would have been maybe potentially, if it wasn't Mariaga, if he would be able to pick the ball up smoothly, but I don't think he was also expecting that. I think he would have probably scored anyways. Just because of where Mariaga was playing, and it was such a wild throw that I think he would have scored anyway. So I'm surprised they gave him an error. But like I said, I couldn't really see it on AATV. Like the camera angle, I couldn't really see it well. Sanchez walked, and Bollock popped out to Walraven. That was so RailCats didn't score anymore after that, and then going into the fifth. This is where things kind of got a little finicky for me. I had to go back and kind of write things down. So Shumpert flew out the center. Ario, he struck out. So there's 2 outs. Taylor walked. Nair hit a single. And then Simpson hit a single, which brought in Taylor. So the walks came back and bit the RailCats a little bit there, which tied the game up at that point. Then it was kind of shut down for Via Vista. I think Via Vista might be a good. His stat lines right now. Yeah, he hasn't given up a run. He's walked 3 people, given up 1 hit, and struck out 3. I know it's only his second game. Technically pitching, but Julio Villavista may be someone reliable in the bullpen. We'll see, because I know typically you get through a couple starts and it just. But for him to come in after a decent game by Heidenfelder, giving up 3 runs, only 2 being earned, I thought him coming in and pitching 2 2/3 innings, shutdown innings, is what you kind of needed to help shut down this Cleburne offense, especially against relieving. I don't know what it is about Cleburne and the RailCats and the bullpen. I don't know what it is. I don't know what switch flips into it, but it's just outrageous because Via Vista shuts them down. And then the bottom of the 8th comes. Simpson gets a single. Clemens walks. And this is where things just kind of go berserk. So Alexander hits a ground ball to Abbott. Abbott throws it to Walraven. Now, it's kind of hard to see on AATV what happens, but there's multiple things you can pick from this, okay? One, so what happens is Abbott throws the ball to Walraven, and Walraven throws the ball back to first, and no one's covering first. Okay, my first thought is maybe Walraven is in such a hurry to get the ball back to first, he's assuming that he's going to be able to make the play at first. So he's assuming either Eisenbarger or Abbott is going to get back to the bag in time for him to make that throw. On the flip side to that is Walraven also has to keep his head up and realize that there's no one covering. But on that situation, I don't know how Lamar Rogers has that played out on who's technically going to be covering first. It seemed like Abbott could have made the play. I don't know if he would have been able to get back in time. And I know it's quite a bit of run for Eisenbarger to get back that way. So, I mean, you can pin this one on Walraven, but I'm not going to fully pin it on him fully. Because he did have a good night tonight. He had the solo home run, and he went 3 for 4. So I mean, he had a good offensive. Okay, yeah, he made a miscue, which ended up, costing the 1 run, or which costed the 1 run, and then later left for the sac fly. So it tied. The game was tied, and then the sac fly was what caused, because I don't know why I don't have that written down, what happened, how he got from second to third or whatever. Anyways, there was my bad, I forgot. Sanchez hit a single which brought Alexander over to third, and then Bollock hit a sacrifice fly to left field, which we all know if it's going to left field, Castillo's not going to throw the guy out. We all know that. It's just going to happen. It's just he doesn't have the arm. Mariaga may have, but outside of that, I don't think anyone else would have, besides maybe Oland. But then going into the bottom of the ninth here, Mariaga. So here's a fun, interesting fact for people that are keeping score at home. In this series, Mariaga has gone 0 for 4. Or not 0 for 4, 0 for 12. In these 3 games they've played, he's gone 0 for 12. Is Mariaga in a slump, or can he just not hit the depot? Or are all these RailCats players salivating over that they can hit home runs, right? That people are just hitting home runs left and right, that they think that every swing they have to take is going to be a home. No, just hit the ball, right? Just hit the ball. Just hit the ball, and if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Just hit the ball. Then Castillo pops out to first. Walraven gets his 3rd knock of the night. He hits a single, then steals a base. So I think that was 5 steals altogether for the RailCats tonight, which I think is a season high, if I'm not mistaken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. So I think that's a season high, actually, this year, and they get the loss. And then Abbott comes up. He had like a 3-0 count, and then he ends up striking out. He was challenged every pitch on that last one by Garwin. So in that situation, maybe I would like to see Burgess or someone else, in that one. So it's another blown game by the RailCats yet again, losing 5 to 4. The 3 errors really hurt the RailCats. I mean, if it wasn't for the 3 errors, if there was no errors by the RailCats, they probably would have won this game 5-1, 5-2 maybe, or 5-0, just to kind of depending. I think the only inning that the Cleburne scored that didn't have an error in it. Actually, I take that back. That there was another error. Why do I have another error there? I don't think that should be an error there. But I think all but the 5th inning all had errors in it. Yeah, I don't know why I wrote down. Oh, runners left on base. My bad. That was the wrong thing. So yeah, all but the 8th to the 5th inning. So maybe the game would have been 5-1 at this point. This pushes the RailCats back to 2.5 games back. And I said going into this series they need to win 4 out of 2. They've already lost to 2. So now they have to go to the next 3 games, and they need to win all 3 of those games. I believe that'll put them a half game up. If my math is right. My math is probably wrong on that aspect of it. I don't think it's wrong, though. Either they're going to be a half game up or a half game. It should be a half game up because there's 3 games left. If they win the 2, then they're a half game behind. If they win the 3rd one, then yeah, my math's not off. I'm just, it's just disappointing. It really is that I don't know what it is about the bullpen with the Railcats. They just can't seem to hold off these Railroaders. They can't get the timely, I just don't know what it is. I have no idea what. I can't wrap my head around some of it. I think right now the Railcats are maybe missing a little bit of Lingual, a little bit, just maybe a tad. Um, it sounded like, from my number one fans, it sounded like that his sister-in-law was having a baby and he's from Texas, so I think he might be on some kind of like leave of absence for right now. Obviously having a child brought into the world is a very important thing, especially in American Association baseball, where it's not like he's making millions of dollars. Family probably comes first to him, and so they probably just gave him a couple days. We may see him tomorrow, or we may not see him at all this series. But I think the Railcats may need a little bit of help from him. I think he is one of the leaders. I think having him and Woodworth up the middle, I think those are leaders of the team. And I think they just bring a different feng shui to the ballpark. And not saying that Walraven hasn't done a very good job at short. I think he really has. But I think you'd be able to move some pieces around and maybe help out somewhere along the line of something. I don't know what it is. I know the outfield seemed to play. Castillo seemed to play a lot better today. Even Scatlin played. That there was one single that happened, which I was kind of like He laid off of it, so it was kind of fine. And I don't think anything really hurt them in that situation. It might have been that sack fly he could have dove for. I mean, it is what it is at that point. You don't want to risk either diving and missing it and them scoring a boatload of runs, or just end up being just one run behind in that aspect of it. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the game. I guess I'm just more disappointed that this Cleburne Railroad team doesn't really quite impress me as much. I mean, they have valuable players. I think they can hit the ball far. I'm playing at the depot. I think probably blows their numbers up a little bit, and especially with them on that crazy win streak, I think it blows up their numbers. I guess I'm more disappointed in the aspect of I think they could have won more games if maybe Lamar Rogers would have pushed the starting pitching a little bit further. If people were able to stop walking people, because I mean realistically, going into that eighth inning, you give up a hit and then you give up a walk. Like, you're not putting yourself in a good situation right there. You're setting yourself up to fail, and that's what ultimately ended up happening. Is you made a good pitch, you get a ground ball, but you're still stuck in that crazy situation where would probably been hard for them to turn a double play. But I don't know if anyone would have scored. But I mean, even at that, even if they didn't have the double play, in order, I'm pretty sure Simpson would have gotten to third. Clemens would have been out, but Alexander would have been still sitting on second. Sanchez could have hit a ball, and Simpson could have scored. And I mean, you can't look at it that he made a good pitch, but the defense kind of broke down to an aspect. So I don't even know, even if Walraven didn't try to make that play, we would probably be still talking about the same thing, but I don't think we would be looking at it the attitude that we are. I think we'd be looking more at Eisenbarger at the hit and the walk than versus the Walraven on the error. But with that being said, I thought that Heidenfelder played a good game. Villavista played a good game. Villavista, I think it's. I thought he had a good. Yeah, Walraven, he gives up the 2 runs. None of them are earned because of the error on that aspect of it. So we'll just go through the Railcat stats here tonight. Scatlin went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Woodworth went 1 for 4 with 1 run and 1 strikeout. Novo went 1 for 2 with 1 run, 2 walks. Mariaga went 0 for 4 with 1 strikeout. Castillo went 2 for 4 with a 3-run shot, and then he had 1 strikeout. Walraven had a solo home run. He went 3 for 4 with 1 strikeout. Sam Abbott 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Graves went 0 for 4 or 0 for 3 with 1 strikeout. Jackson Smith went 0 for 3. So you got a lot of 0 fors in there. It doesn't really help your situation in that case. Then looking at the pitching stat line for the RailCats, Heidenfelder went 4 2/3 innings. He gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Villavista went 2 1/3, giving up 1 run and striking out 1 person. Eisenbarger is tagged with the loss. He pitched in 1 inning, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, none which were earned, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. I'm looking at the Cleveland Railroaders. Ario, he went 0 for 3 with 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. Taylor went 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Nair went 1 for 4 with 1 strikeout. Simpson went 2 for 4. Had 1 RBI, 1 run, struck out 1 person. Clemens went 1 for 3 with 1 run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Alexander went 1 for 4, 2 runs, and 1 RBI. Sanchez went 1 for 3 with 1 walk. Hernandez was a pinch runner, so it doesn't matter. Bollock, the catcher, went 0 for 3 with 1 run batted in and 1 strikeout. Chumpert went 1 for 4 with 1 strikeout. Looking at the pitching line here, Lucas started out pitching. He pitched 3 innings. He was on a pitch count, I believe, tonight, as the Cleveland Railroaders announcers were saying. He pitched 3 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Then Sims came in. He pitched 2 innings, gave up 1 hit on 1 run, which was earned, and 4 strikeouts. Bell came in, gave up 1 hit in 1 inning and 1 strikeout. McCarthy, he's tagged with the win. He pitched 2 innings, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and Garwin with the save had one inning, gave up 1 hit and 1 strikeout. So yeah, just want to hear you guys' thoughts on the game. It's more disappointment that I think the RailCats should have come out with a better outcome. I guess I'm tired of them blowing leads to the Cleveland Railroaders. Yeah, it is what it is. 2.5 games back. Tomorrow I will not be doing a podcast. I have to go to a Backstreet concert, so I will be in Chicago, in Tinley Park, going to that game or that concert, and then Saturday potentially we'll have a podcast out with the game starting at 7:05. It's our bridal shower, so I have to be there for that. So hopefully it doesn't run over. I don't think it will. And then I start the fun weeks of inventories that are going to be happening. So Sunday I'm working from like 6:30 at night to 6:30 in the morning kind of deal. I'm working like those, it's weird hours. I have to drive out to Michigan to go to a store and do inventory and stuff on that. So I won't be doing a podcast. I might work in a podcast somehow, some way. I may come home, maybe briefly watch some of the game, kind of get the gist of the game going on, and then I may have a podcast about it. Then I think I'm off like the next 2 days after that, so I'll be able to watch the game, so on and so forth. How that all works out. So I'll keep you guys updated on that aspect of it. But if you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, all that other good stuff. If you comment down below on my Facebook, my Twitter, or on the YouTube, I will make sure I comment back. If it's something brief or something, I'll try and comment back or like. If I don't really have anything to say, I'll kind of like it back. Just to acknowledge that I saw your comment, and I appreciate you coming in and commenting. I just don't have anything at the moment that I particularly have to say, or it's just kind of in the context of the conversation or something like that. But like I said, if you enjoy the podcast, wherever you're listening it, I want you to enjoy yourselves. So yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your night, rest of your evening, whenever you're watching this, and go Cats.